Hello and welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be giving you my second update here for September and time to everything that I have read during this week. So my last couple updates have been talking about how slow I've been reading here, and this is still a little bit slow, but I feel like I'm starting to build up some steam, which I've been reading some great stuff still, so it hasn't been like a reading slump or anything like that. I've just had kind of some limited time, but we're hoping to get that fixed here. So let's talk physical books first. I did finish Bottom Hill by High Anonymous, which is the sequel to Gurzel. I will be doing a review for this, which is going to come out on Friday this week. I don't usually do reviews for a book too, but I actually had enough stuff easily to talk about with this one for a full review, so I figured I would do them. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out the review. But I'm really enjoying this series. It's one that kind of took me by surprise because I don't do a ton of historical fiction with it, and it's definitely historical fiction. It's got the fantastical elements in it though, and just does kind of an interesting spin with this overall plot. So I've really been enjoying it. Like I said, wait and check out that review if you're interested in seeing what I thought on this here too. But that'll be coming. But yeah, this is not a long book. It's like just over 300 pages, and it took me a lot longer than it should have to read. But I'm hoping, once again, that I'm finally picking up some more steam. After that, then I started Dark Moon by David Gemmell. This is also a fairly short book. I am not super far into this. I'm like 40 pages in. It's not a super long book either, though, so I'm hoping to get through this here pretty quickly. But I was really interested. So, just the cover's super cool. And if you haven't seen, this was in, I think, both my my recent book haul and I posted Discord too, but this came signed, which I was not expecting. It's not in the greatest condition otherwise, but the signature makes it all better. So I was interested in this because a viewer actually specifically recommended this as one of his standalone novels to check out because I've just been loving Drenai and I want to try his other stuff too, and so recommended this, and so I looked it up and I was able to find it actually pretty cheap, once again having no idea it was signed, and so got a copy, and then shortly after that Andrew mentioned that he was going to be reading that this month, and so I'm like, okay, well, I will get to it right away then and start it. So he's already finished it, and he loved it, which it's Gemmell. I'm not really surprised. I've generally loved everything I've read by him as well, but this one is it seems like it's going to be like a darker fantasy than some of his other stuff that I've read, and also heavier on the fantasy elements. Drenai tends to be a lot more low fantasy all in all, despite some of the stuff in there. There's definitely still the fantasy elements, but this seems like it's going to be more so. It's our main character has like a second evil persona within them, kind of. It seems like it's like a demon or something, and we've got some magical creatures we've talked about already, and just magic is something that's around too, so it's starting interesting. I'm not super far in with this one yet, and it's kind of still picking up steam, but I'm really excited because I yet to read a David Gemmell book I did not enjoy so far, so I hope to finish this up soon and probably have a review coming out for that. Could be, well, I think I already have it scheduled next week, but soon anyway, hopefully for that one. So that's kind of what I was doing on the physical reading. I will note a couple of the space fic self-pub sci-fi competition ones, the standouts that I read. We're still doing the reading through and kind of previewing and seeing which things were interesting to continue on, so I'll mention those ones. So the two that I read this week that really stood out is the first one's called Witch 6 by Tyler Sen, which I may be mispronouncing. And this is the first one that it seems like it's kind of sci-fantasy, which I was excited about because I've really enjoyed kind of dipping my toe more into sci-fi and trying more stuff out. But of course, fantasy's first in my heart. So this is it's very much a sci-fi. There's like different planets and different aliens and whatnot, everything too. But it takes place on a world where magic is still a thing, and so it kind of immediately sets the narrative that as technology has advanced and taken over for all the places that still have magic, the setting here seems to be one of the few places where magic is still powerful and kind of important, and so just kind of that magic versus technology thing I think will be really interesting to explore, and this one caught my attention very, very quickly, and I was pretty interested in that one. And then the other one that really caught my eye was Time and the Soldier by David Dvorkin, which I also may be mispronouncing. This one is kind of a familiar plot, but it sounded like it was going to be interesting. And once again, we're doing kind of the preview round, so I'm going to make some snap decisions. But it's set up basically people from around like I think 45 is what it is, and it's during World War II. People being recruited for this kind of like secret project, which is, of course, you can tell from the name, even going to involve them traveling in time into the future. And so I'm kind of interested to see where it goes. Definitely a topic that I've seen before with kind of time travel, especially specifically around World War II. So but it seemed to be well written and interested me enough to continue that one as well. Also, so those are the two kind of standouts from what I've read here. I haven't got through a lot of those lately. I need to pick up that as well, because I think I've tried out like half of them, so I still have like half to go. So probably next week or so there will be more updates on the standouts there too. So if you didn't see the last update when I talked about those, I'm just kind of whichever ones like stand out or like this really interested me, those are the ones I want to mention. If I didn't like it, I'm just not going to mention it. That way we're keeping it positive with the contest there. So it's kind of what I'm going for there. So there'll probably be more of that coming as well, but that's kind of where we're at for now. On the audio front, this is actually where I feel like I've made the most progress at this point, because I had a lot more time where I could listen to audio, or I was like busy doing other things, and I was able to multitask with audio as well. So that I got through pretty good. I did get through book 4 in Dungeon Crawler Carl, The Gate of the Feral Gods. Still just really enjoying this series. It is very different from anything I normally read or listen to for the most part, but this is probably my favorite thing. I've listened to audio, barring maybe Project Hail Mary, that I absolutely loved, but it's got a lot more production to it, versus Project Hail Mary had some, but was still mostly just a regular audiobook. This definitely has the more production for it as well, and I've just been enjoying it. And the story and the characters are actually really good too. It's one of those things where it presents as just kind of like this silly, entertaining type of read, but the characters do go a lot deeper. There is definitely some darker moments, some emotional moments, and had some really good stuff with that in Gate of the Feral Gods. And then I've made actually a pretty good dent in The Butcher's Masquerade, which is book 5. And so I'm getting through this one here pretty quickly. So I did end up just kind of binging the rest. After I finished the second one, I wanted to go right into the third, and I ended up just buying all 3 on Audible. And so I'm now on the 5th, which I thought was the last book, and come to find out I'm wrong, which makes sense, because I was wondering how anything could possibly be completely done by book 5, just based on how it's been set up. And so I don't actually know how many books there are supposed to be, and I'm going to have to find out. So there's at least going to be a 6th, but this might just be an ongoing thing, I guess. I didn't really look into it before starting it. So that makes me sad, but I'm really excited to see what book 5 has in store, and see how mad I am that I then have to wait for the next book after that. That's going to be interesting to see as well. But that's where we are on audio. So and it's getting later in the month, I still haven't started Crown of Swords on audio, which will absolutely be the next audio thing that I do, because I still need to actually do that book for this month. So that will be coming soon, or that'll be the next thing I do on audio, just continuing the Wheel of Time reread. It's the Carl books, they get longer as they went along, so it's taken a bit, but I've also been getting through them very quickly, so I figured I'd take a little bit of extra time. I will also, some other things that I'm probably going to be starting soon too. I realized I actually forgot to read book 2 in Earthsea last month, which is Tombs of Atuan, and I completely forgot to read it. So I'll be reading both book 2 and book 3 this month as well, which those are both kind of shorter, and I think I might end up doing that just to kind of build up my pace, get my book count going, read a few kind of short things here and there just to kind of pick up, because I still need to start a couple of much bigger books that I definitely want to read as well, but maybe just, so I've been reading kind of short books and still been slow, so maybe burn through a couple of short ones and then get some big stuff going at the same time. So hopefully I'll have a lot more updates. I have too many books to read still, so I need to make sure that I'm getting back to my normal reading speed and getting through them a lot quicker. That is it for this one though, on this update, so make sure to give the video a like if you enjoyed it. Check the link in the description for the Wizardly Duo Discord. As always, if you want to chat books, whether any of the books I mentioned here, other books, any books, or really anything at all, it is a lot of fun and we would love to have you. And of course, if you enjoy my content, make sure to subscribe.